The third sign is the coming of the Antichrist.
There before me was another horn, a little one, which came up among them, and 3 of the first horns were uprooted before it. This horn had eyes like the eyes of a man, and a mouth that spoke boastfully.
The prophet Daniel foresaw the rise of a dictator of a 10-nation confederation headquartered in Rome. He will set himself up against Christ in the last days before the second coming. He foresaw a man who uproots all who oppose him in his rise to absolute power. His eyes, the eyes of a man, show a keen intelligence, and his mouth that spoke boastfully foretells of a speaker of great authority, a charismatic orator who mesmerizes masses of followers. To him the people surrender all, their will, their loyalty, their love, their freedom, their very souls. They are convinced he is a savior. In a world bleeding from wars, he promises peace. In a world reeling from terrorism, he establishes order. He stabilizes shaky economies. He unites his followers in a new world order. To this suffering world, our world, he will appear heaven-sent. Nothing could be further from the truth. He is the Antichrist sent by Satan, a stern-faced king, a master of intrigue, who will succeed in whatever he does. If prophecy rings true, it is possible that the Antichrist is already among us. And there is every reason to believe that he will be a European. You or I may have brushed past him on a city street, or sat next to him on an airliner, or shared a bench with him in a Paris park. To millions of Christians, he is the enemy. In his struggle to power, he will stack up more and more popular support, and why not? To the secularized multitudes of the West who are weary of endless overlapping wars, of tribal rivalries and slaughter, weary of ethnic cleansings, of the plague of narcotics, of rampant terrorism, weary of the seeming purposelessness of life. A latchkey generation of youth will fix on him for an ideal, for discipline, longing to be told what to live for and what to die for. Believers are certain that he will achieve absolute power over every man, woman, and child within the 10-nation confederation, from cradle to grave. He will determine who shall be born and who shall be aborted, who shall be educated, and who simply shall be cannon fodder. For his ballyhooed peace platform will one day become a springboard into war. He will determine who among the aged should be done away with after outliving their usefulness. And he will tolerate no dissension, no debate. To grasp the appeal and the awesome power of the Antichrist, we can reach back into the past, to the blighted first half of the 20th century. Adolf Hitler offers a realistic insight into what we can expect from the Antichrist. Indeed, when Hitler was in power, there were those who believed that he truly was the Antichrist. This is understandable from a study of Hitler's face. It is obviously that of the stern-faced king foreseen by the prophet Daniel. Hitler was certainly a master of intrigue, and the eyes, cunning, keenly intelligent. As for Daniel's foreseeing a dictator with a mouth that spoke boastfully, Hitler was a spellbinder. Through a series of calculated street brawls and his own hypnotic oratory, Hitler became Germany's supreme leader. He claimed he wanted only to restore Germany's rightful place among the nations of the world, peacefully. A peace candidate. Christians believe this is how the Antichrist will present himself in his rise to power. By incorporating Europe into his Third Reich, Hitler was master of nearly all of the Roman Empire's most important European colonies. It seemed only a matter of moving his capital from Berlin to Rome itself. But Britannia, Britain, held out and fought him off. As World War II turned against him, it seemed less likely that Hitler was the Antichrist of prophecy. Yet Adolf Hitler is the closest we can come to understanding the Christian vision of the Antichrist. Like Hitler, he will mesmerize the masses so that he can enslave them. Hitler's 1,000-year Reich lasted less than 12 years. During those years, however, the control that Hitler exercised over peoples and nations was awesome. Yet by today's standards, the tools that he had with which to control them were primitive. There were no electronics, as we know them. The prophesied dictator, the Antichrist, will be an updated Hitler. But unlike Hitler, all of the astounding advances in electronic technology will be at his disposal. Vast media networks and mind control electronics will serve his ends. The most destructive weaponry will be his to command, and he will program humankind to do his bidding.